How do you make sure your ex-spouse will not be able to inherit your house, your money, or anything else you own? In this video, I'm going to show you what you have to do to protect your assets and your children's inheritance from your ex-spouse. Before we get started, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, hit the subscribe button to get notified whenever I post a new video about inheritances and living trusts. By the way, my name is Edmund Yan. I am a living trust lawyer. I've helped hundreds of families and I've taught over 3,000 people how to do it themselves, and I'm excited to share my tips and tricks with you today. And if you own a home and you want to learn how the entire process of making a living trust works and how to do it the right way without hiring a lawyer, check out my free trust class at freetrustclass.com. And even if you're hiring a lawyer, watch this class first to know the process and so you can hire the right one to help your family. Really quick legal disclaimer, I'm not your lawyer. I'm not giving you any legal advice today. All of this is just information. If you have any legal questions, talk to a lawyer in your state. So can your ex-spouse inherit your house and money? It depends. Like all legal questions, it depends on what you do after the divorce, because technically in your divorce settlement, it should have spelled out what's yours and what's your ex-spouse's. And so it should already been laid out. Sometimes, especially when you are handling your own divorce, if you and your ex-spouse did not have a lawyer handling it, a lot of times these settlement agreements are not complete and you don't have the guidance to understand what do you do after divorce in order to make sure that your ex-spouse won't be able to inherit. Because for example, sometimes you have a life insurance policy and during marriage you've listed your spouse as the beneficiary of that life insurance policy, but what if you divorce and you forget to change the beneficiary? What happens to that money? Does it go to the ex-spouse or does it go to your children or your new spouse? So those are all questions that you need an answer to. And so today in this video, I'm going to show you what you need to do immediately after you get divorced, if you're in the process of divorcing. What do you have to plan ahead after you get the divorce settlement or divorce order in order to protect your assets from going to your spouse if you pass away? So number one, you should definitely update your healthcare directive and your power of attorney. So I'm talking about disability. If you're disabled, you want to make sure that the person who's able to manage your financial decisions and healthcare decisions is not your spouse or ex-spouse. Okay, because while you're married, you might have a healthcare directive and a power of attorney that says, if I'm disabled, I want my spouse to help me with all of this. So to make things clear, you want to make sure you update your healthcare directive and your power of attorney so there's no chance of litigation or arguments in terms of who can be your healthcare agent or your agent for power of attorney. Another thing to do immediately is to update all beneficiaries on all of your financial accounts. So for example, your checking, your savings, your investments, your CDs, any financial account that you own, make sure you update the beneficiaries. Your retirement plans, updating the beneficiaries of your pension, your 401k, your IRAs, those are all really important to do after you divorce. Remove your ex-spouse as a beneficiary. And also your life insurance, just like how I mentioned earlier, remove your ex-spouse as a beneficiary of your life insurance unless your divorce settlement or order requires you to keep your spouse on. There's sometimes when you get divorced, you're negotiating about who gets what, and sometimes the ex-spouse is going to stay on as the beneficiary of your life insurance. So depending on what your settlement agreement says, comply with it. You do not want to violate your settlement agreement or the court order. And so update your beneficiaries and make sure that it doesn't violate the terms of your settlement or the court order. Another thing to do immediately is to close down all joint accounts. So whatever you and your ex-spouse have decided on, make sure that you split the cash between you and your ex-spouse, close down the joint accounts, and open up new ones. Also, you want to remove your spouse from your real estate as set forth in your divorce settlement or the court order. So whoever's getting the properties remove the other spouse's name as soon as possible. Okay, don't wait an extra day or two. You don't know what's going to happen. And so make sure you remove the spouse, put yourself on title, and so the asset is protected from your ex-spouse. And so after you get all the assets into your name, like your financial accounts, as well as the house or the rental properties, make sure you create a new will or a living trust. And in the will, in the living trust, prohibit your ex-spouse from serving in any fiduciary capacity, such as your executor or your trustee. You want to make sure that you have someone else in place to serve as the people who's going to manage everything for you if you become disabled or you passed away. Okay, so a lot of times when someone who just got divorced would hire me to help them update their trust or create a new trust, sometimes the breakup, the divorce is pretty nasty. And so what my clients request from me is to make sure that the ex-spouse will never be able to be the executor or the trustee, just in case, right? Just in case he or she does try to squeeze in and become the trustee, become the executor. And so if you have any concerns about that, then you want to make it very clear, very crystal clear in the trust or the will that you create, stating that my spouse can never manage any of my assets, can never be the executor, can never be the trustees, to make it absolutely clear. So creating a new trust or a will is very important because you want to protect your children's inheritance. And also, if you're giving assets to other people upon your passing, you want to make sure that those people are listed in your will or your trust as well. Now, the question is, do you set up a will or a trust to protect your beneficiary's inheritance? It depends on whether or not you have real estate. If you own a home, it's always best to set up a trust to avoid probate, the cost of probate, the length of probate. Probate can easily be 2 or 3 years, and it could cost tens of thousands of dollars. So when you set up a trust, when you pass away, all the assets will be inherited without having to go to probate, wasting 2 or 3 years in court, and saving you from those probate costs. So set up a trust if you have a property. If you don't have a property and you just have a few bank accounts, a will might be sufficient for you. But the whole point here is to make sure that your children's inheritance is protected for them. Okay, so hire a lawyer or do it yourself. If you do it yourself, I have a free trust class at www.freetrustclass.com. So check that out. Another thing to do immediately is to move all the bank accounts into your trust if you created a trust. A lot of people, when they set up a trust, they forget to move bank accounts into the trust, and also move your real estate into the trust, because the trust can only control what's inside of it. So if you pass away and there's bank accounts that's not in the trust, if the house is not in the trust, those assets could potentially end up in probate, or it could be distributed not according to what your trust says. So make sure you move bank accounts, real estate into the trust once you create it. And also update all liability insurance policies. Take your ex-spouse out of your car insurance, homeowners insurance, any other liability insurance. Make sure they're out. Also, if you own a business and let's say your spouse was a 50% owner, make sure that you handle that as well. Make sure that's settled in the divorce settlement as well between you and them. So those are the things that you should be doing immediately after you divorce, so that you protect your beneficiaries from any sort of litigation, any sort of arguments or drama that your family might go through if you did not plan ahead. So educate yourself in these things. Even before you hire a lawyer, educate yourself on the process. There's so much information these days. You can get a law degree, a pseudo law degree on Google or YouTube by researching these legal issues. Now, if you want to do it yourself, if you want to set up your estate plan or your trust yourself, check out my free trust class at freetrustclass.com. I'll show you how to make your own trust the right way so you can protect your house from probate, protect your house from your ex-spouse with confidence and without making any mistakes. I'm not here to sell you my legal services. My number one goal is to make sure you keep more money in the family and give you that peace of mind that you're looking for. So click the link below this video to register for the free class so you can do it yourself. Now, before I go, I want to pray with you and leave you with this Bible verse. It's from 1 Corinthians. Love is patient, love is kind, love does not envy or boast. Love is not arrogant or rude. Love does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice at wrongdoing, but rejoices with the truth. Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, and endures all things. So if you're getting divorced or you have gotten divorced, I pray that you can have love to your ex-spouse to be able to love unconditionally, to remove yourself of any resentment, of any anger that you might have on your ex-spouse, and also that love is out there. Love is out there for you, whether it's another husband or a wife. Someone's out there that that you can love. And the ultimate love comes from Jesus. It was through Jesus that I was able to learn how to love my wife. For the longest time, I didn't really understand what love meant until I read the Bible and I understand the love of Christ. And the Bible also talks about how husbands are to love their wives like Jesus loves his church. And that's the same for wives as well, for wives to love others as Jesus loved us. So when we do that, when we put ourselves together with our spouse as one flesh and truly join together in love, it's beautiful. And when we understand love through the lens of Jesus, it's even more beautiful. So I encourage you to seek the Lord, seek Jesus with all of your heart, and you're going to experience a love that you never experienced before. But I pray that you're going to be able to find someone to love and to love back by them, because love is everywhere when you seek it. So God bless you all. If you have any legal questions about estate planning, living trusts, home ownership, let me know in the comments below. If you have any questions about that, I would do my best to answer them for you in my next videos. All right, God bless you all. I will see you later.